Hi, this is Cameron back again with a vinyl collection video. This is number 56. It's the first album of about 40, or the first video of about 40 that I'm going to make featuring my albums that start with the letter B. This is a short one because I only have 12 albums before I actually hit Bach, and I don't want to I'll show Bach all in one video. My next video will be focused on Bach's on the CD, on the LPs I have featuring Bach's music. To get started, I have an album I picked up at Goodwill called the artist is called Andy B. It's called Imagination, and it's an EP featuring extended mix and instrumental mix. And this is an electronic album from 2002. I couldn't find out what country Andy B is from, or his real name. Next up, a reggae album. I'm not sure if it's out of Canada or if it's out of UK. I think it's out of Canada because it's distributed by Soul King Enterprises. This album is a split. So the first side is Cecil B, We West Indian People, and the second side is SS Band, We People. So, and again, I don't have a year on this. I looked on the internet and just couldn't find anything. So Cecil B and SS Band. This next one I liked. It was rock and roll. Old style rock and roll, kind of like 50s revivalists, early 60s revivalists. They're out of Finland, called Honeybee and the T-Bones, and the album's called On the Loose. Came out in 1990 out of Finland. Next up is a classic rock album by Babe Ruth, the album Kid Stuff, which came out in 1976. It's the only album I have by Babe Ruth. It's heavy prog, and I definitely, in listening to it again, I have to go out and search out their other albums. I know that they're quite well liked in the VC. Next up, just to mix up my variety of albums, I have a Czech album on Superphone label, which was, I think, the state-run Czech label in the up until the early 90s. This is a band called Babuji. I'm just guessing on the pronunciation. And they, when I looked up them on the internet, there's quite a bit on them. There's actually a Wikipedia page. And they have their own website, and I hit translate, and I learned a little bit about them. So they're the Southern Bohemian. They're the oldest and most continuous playing South Bohemian brass band. This album came out in 1989. Then I'm going to show a Canadian DJ hip hop R&B album that features Julie Black, who's actually quite well known out of Canada for her R&B revivalist sounds. This is Baby Blue Sound Crew, Day Before. It came out in 2001. And the back side is Salsa Lady. Okay, when I started collecting in the early early mid-80s, mostly around 84, 85, 86. I was exploring and looking at different compilations that were available for cheap, and the Baby Boomer Classics series was a great opportunity to sample some older records before I actually went out and bought them. So the first one is Electric 60s, which came out in 1986 and features Steppenwolf, Crazy World of Arthur Brown, Cream, Birds, Santana, Blue Cheer, Blues Magoos, Eric Burdon and the Animals, Strawberry Alarm Clock, and the Chambers Brothers. So these were sort of like K-Tel albums, but I think they're a little bit better quality. So Baby Boomer Classics, Electric 60s. Next up, a Baby Boomers Classic, Psychedelic 60s. And this features Steppenwolf, Cream, The Seeds, Music Machine, Blind Faith, Donovan, Yardbirds, Castaways, Count 5, and Velvet Underground. So, of course, there was a big 60s revival in the mid-80s. I remember the TV show and the book. It was 20 years ago today, which really interviewed a lot of the artists who had been big in 1967 when Sgt. Pepper's came out. Okay, and then finally, Baby Boomers Classics, Rock and Roll 60s. And this features Tommy James and the Shondells, Monkees, Paul Revere and the Raiders, Syndicate of Sound, Music Explosion, Bobby Fuller 4, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, McCoys, Standells, and Soul Survivors. Okay. Now, a band, I couldn't find too much about them other than that they were available for sale on Discogs. The Babymen for King Willie, and this is an EP that came out in 1986 out of the UK. And says that it was actually originally written in 1982, and then it wasn't released until 1986 on one little Indian label. I got that when a local record store that featured imports was going out of business, so Records on Wheels. Okay, a reggae artist out of Canada, Baby Rose, the song Feel Up, and the other side is Tomato Version. This came out, doesn't say what year it came out, and I couldn't find anything on the internet about it to pin down what year it came out. And the final album before I hit Bach, next video, is The Babies on the Edge. So it's UK arena rock power ballads on the Edge in 1980. That's it for this vinyl collection video. I'm thinking of showing some of my CDs in a future video, because I have a really amazing collection of 60s and early 70s reissues, psychedelic, acid, classic rock, and I'm just wondering if people are interested in seeing those. What's happening is I have my first cell phone and I'm just burning the songs or whatever onto my phone through iTunes. So I'm just going through that first experience of copying songs, and of course I'm not going to get rid of my CDs since I have a great collection. So that's it for this video. Please leave your comments and please subscribe. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye bye.